You think you're free, don't you? You think you've grown up, moved out, made your own decisions, built your own life. You look in the mirror and see an independent adult who calls their own shots. But what if I told you that right now, as you're watching this, your mother's voice is still whispering in your head, shaping every choice you make, every relationship you enter, every dream you chase or abandon? What if I told you that the invisible chains she wrapped around your heart when you were 5 years old are still there, tighter than ever, and you don't even know it? This isn't going to be another feel-good video about appreciating your mom or healing family relationships with warm hugs and gratitude journals. This is about something much deeper, much more uncomfortable, and infinitely more important. This is about the psychological prison your mother built around you before you even knew what freedom meant. And the hardest truth of all, she probably didn't even know she was doing it. Your mother didn't just give birth to your body. She gave birth to your internal voice, your sense of worth, your understanding of love, your relationship with fear, your ability to trust yourself. Every "be careful" she whispered shaped how you see risk. Every "what will people think" she worried about became your inner critic. Every tear she cried when you disappointed her taught you that your emotions are weapons that can hurt the people you love most. Right now, you're probably thinking about your childhood, remembering specific moments, specific words. But here's what most people miss. It wasn't just the big moments that programmed you. It wasn't just the fights, the punishments, the obvious wounds. It was the 1,000 tiny interactions, the subtle expressions, the energy she carried when she looked at you. Children are emotional sponges, absorbing not just what their mothers say, but what they feel, what they fear, what they secretly believe about themselves and the world. Your mother's unhealed trauma became your inheritance. Her unexpressed anger became your anxiety. Her unfulfilled dreams became your guilt. Her fear of abandonment became your desperate need for approval. She handed you her emotional DNA, and you've been living it out ever since, thinking it's your own personality, your own quirks, your own natural tendencies. But what if none of it is actually yours? Think about the way you love. Really think about it. Do you love by giving everything and expecting nothing, the way she taught you love should be selfless? Do you love by controlling and worrying, the way she loved you? Do you withhold love when you're hurt, the way she did when you misbehaved? Or do you love desperately, hungrily, afraid it will disappear, because her love always came with conditions you could never quite figure out? The mother wound isn't just about what she did wrong. It's about what she couldn't give you because she never received it herself. She couldn't teach you emotional regulation because no one taught her. She couldn't show you unconditional self-love because she was still seeking it from everyone around her. She couldn't model healthy boundaries because her own were shattered long before you were born. You've been trying to fill holes in yourself that were actually holes in her. And here's where it gets really twisted. The more she loved you, the deeper the programming went. Every sacrifice she made for you came with an invisible price tag. Every worry, every sleepless night, every dream she abandoned to raise you became part of your emotional debt. You learned that love equals sacrifice, that your needs cause pain, that your independence is a betrayal of everything she gave up for you. You know what's fascinating? Right about now, some of you are getting defensive. You're thinking, my mother wasn't that bad, or she did her best, or this doesn't apply to my situation. And you know what? That defensive reaction, that's her voice. That's the loyal child inside you, still protecting her, still making excuses, still choosing her comfort over your truth. Even in a video about breaking free from her control, she's controlling your response. But here's something that might surprise you, and honestly, if this resonates with you, maybe tap that like button because this is about to get even more real. Your mother's control over you isn't malicious. It's not conscious. It's not even personal. She's not sitting in her living room plotting ways to manipulate your adult life. She's trapped in the same patterns that trapped her mother and her mother before that. This is generational programming running on autopilot, and you just happen to be the current host. The prison she built for you feels like protection. Every warning she gave you feels like wisdom. Every limitation she placed on you feels like love. And maybe it was love, but it was love filtered through fear, love contaminated by her own wounds, love that protected you from imaginary dangers while crippling your ability to handle real ones. You learned to read her moods before you learned to read books. You learned to manage her emotions before you learned to understand your own. You became a little therapist, a little caretaker, a little performer, doing whatever it took to keep her happy, keep her stable, keep her love flowing in your direction. And now, decades later, you're still performing, still caretaking, still reading rooms and managing other people's emotions because that's how you learned to survive. The cruelest part is how this programming disguises itself as virtue. You think you're being loving when you sacrifice yourself for others. You think you're being responsible when you worry about everything and everyone. You think you're being strong when you never ask for help. But these aren't your values. These are survival strategies you learned in childhood, dressed up as personality traits. Your mother taught you that your worth is conditional. Maybe the conditions were good grades, maybe they were good behavior, maybe they were just staying quiet and not causing problems. But somewhere along the way, you learned that love has to be earned, that acceptance has to be achieved, that your basic existence isn't enough to warrant care and attention. And now you're an adult, exhausted from a lifetime of earning love that should have been freely given. You're tired of performing, tired of proving, tired of carrying emotional responsibilities that were never yours to carry. But you don't know how to stop because stopping feels like betrayal, feels like abandonment, feels like becoming the kind of selfish person she always warned you not to be. Here's what's going to hurt to hear. Your mother's opinion of you is not the truth about you. Her fears about what might happen to you are not prophecies. Her disappointment in your choices is not evidence that you're making wrong choices. Her emotional reactions to your independence are not your responsibility to manage. The guilt you feel when you prioritize yourself is not moral guidance, it's conditioning. You've been living your life trying to heal her wounds, trying to prove her wrong, trying to make her proud, trying to avoid her mistakes. But her wounds are not yours to heal. Her wrong beliefs are not yours to correct. Her pride is not yours to earn. Her mistakes are not yours to avoid by living a smaller, safer life. The most terrifying realization is that breaking free from this control means disappointing her. It means accepting that she might never understand your choices, never approve of your path, never give you the validation you've been seeking your entire life. It means grieving the mother you needed but never had, while learning to love the imperfect human being she actually is. But here's the truth that will set you free. You are not responsible for your mother's emotional well-being. You never were. That little child who learned to tiptoe around her feelings, to anticipate her needs, to sacrifice their own voice to keep peace. That child was doing the best they could with an impossible situation. But you're not that child anymore. The voice in your head that sounds like doubt, that sounds like criticism, that sounds like fear, that's not your intuition. That's not your wisdom. That's not your inner knowing. That's an echo of every worry she ever projected onto you, every limitation she ever accepted for herself, every dream she ever abandoned out of fear. You have the power to turn down the volume on that voice. You have the power to question every should and must and what if that automatically pops into your head. You have the power to separate her programming from your authentic desires, her fears from your actual risks, her definition of love from your own experience of what love could be. The hardest part of this journey is that no one can do it for you. Not a therapist, not a partner, not even your mother herself, if she suddenly became the parent you always needed. This is internal work that requires you to become the loving, accepting, unconditionally supportive parent to yourself that you never had. You have to learn to comfort yourself when you're scared instead of seeking external validation. You have to learn to trust your own judgment instead of constantly second-guessing yourself. You have to learn to set boundaries without guilt, to pursue your dreams without permission, to love without losing yourself in the process. This doesn't mean cutting your mother out of your life or harboring resentment against her. This means seeing her clearly not as the all-powerful figure from your childhood, but as a human being with her own wounds, her own limitations, her own programming from her own mother. This means loving her without sacrificing yourself to her emotional needs. The saddest part is that the freedom you're seeking, the freedom to be fully yourself, to love without conditions, to trust your own inner voice, this is what she wanted for herself too. The control, the worry, the emotional entanglement, these weren't expressions of her truest self. These were expressions of her own prison, her own fear, her own unhealed places. When you break free from the invisible chains, you're not just liberating yourself. You're breaking a generational cycle. You're refusing to pass on the emotional inheritance of fear and control and conditional love. You're choosing to end the pattern with you so that if you have children or influence other young people, you can give them what you never received: permission to be fully, authentically themselves. The mother wound isn't about blame or anger or resentment. It's about recognition. It's about seeing clearly what was passed down to you so you can choose what to keep and what to release. It's about understanding that love doesn't require you to be small, that care doesn't require you to be worried, that connection doesn't require you to lose your individual identity. Your mother did her best with the tools she had, the awareness she possessed, the healing she had access to. But her best doesn't have to become your ceiling. Her limitations don't have to become your boundaries. Her fears don't have to become your reality. You get to write a different story, starting right now. Starting with the recognition that you are not an extension of her. You are your own complete, whole, sovereign being. The truth about your mother that still controls you is this: she gave you life, but she also gave you her limitations. She loved you, but she loved you through the filter of her own wounds. She wanted the best for you, but she could only imagine best through the lens of her own fears and restrictions. And now it's time for you to expand beyond what she could envision, to become who you actually are beneath all the conditioning, to live the life that's authentically yours rather than the safe, small version she could accept.